Hi. Hi.
Oh,
Hello, everybody.
We should have
Hi.
decided who was going to talk first.
We didn't plan this.
Welcome to the metaverse. I'm Justin7638. I'm a fan fiction Justin that got thrown into this dimension.
Here's
I'm
the
so
weird
happy
thing.
to be here.
It turns out I'm Travis 1.
Yeah,
Travis Prime.
In
you
the
think you
metaverse,
are.
I'm the first Travis.
I'm Griffin Noir, the hard-boiled detective from 1930, whatever the detective time.
Detective
Whatever.
Times.
Detective time.
I'm he who first name walks the plains, second name, last
I
name.
get it.
And I just kind of move from different verse to different verse. So
Yes,
it's
Yeah,
canon.
it is.
canon.
It is actually canon.
Yeah.
that is canon. Yeah.
Welcome to the McElroy family Q&A. We're so glad to have you here. These are questions that were submitted via Twitter, and we've got a whole bunch of questions.
Hey, Justin, thank you for putting on glasses because it was weird that three of us did and you didn't.
I just get self-conscious sometimes about the level of visibility people have into my peepers. So I need to-
Yeah.
Right.
And we
It's like
need
a-
more nerd cred. So thanks for
Yeah.
really bringing that.
Who
Yeah,
was the-
that's
who was
what we
the
need.
first of you guys to get glasses?
Travis,
You.
I believe.
You.
It was-
Well, you,
I mean,
yeah.
not counting you. It was me.
I still
That's-
don't need them. Perfect. 2020, you had those together. You get 40, just like me. Perfect vision.
Oh, I see.
I test it every once in a while. It gets better.
Right.
I'm loving it.
And guys,
Okay.
that's our first question down. This is
That was
feeling
it.
so
Question one.
natural.
How old is Justin?
These are distracting. Why? How do people deal with? Ugh.
The
You gotta
glare.
find your
yeah.
angles. That's why you gotta put your camera up high, and I can't look up.
Nah,
It
I think I'll
gets
just
my
stick with
ring
having
lights.
perfect vision.
And they go really well with your contact, too.
Oh, it's a 3D show. Whoa!
Oh,
All right. Okay, shall we get started?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off. Let's send this one, Griffin's way, but everybody could take a shot at it. Fitzroy, this is from Aliana, she, her, hers. Fitzroy is one of the most relatable ace representations I've seen in media to date. So for everyone, how do you decide on playing characters that do not have the same race, gender, sexuality as you, and what kind of research do you put into those characters?
That's very flattering, and I appreciate that. For Fitz, it was it's flattering to a degree that's like making me kind of jittery. I feel like there aren't like a ton of ace characters. I remember the one that kind of like caught my attention was in the Outer Wilds. Parvati, one of the characters, I'm sorry if I'm saying that
Parvati?
name.
Parvati.
Yeah.
Parvati Survivor.
Parvati is Survivor. Thank you, Justin.
Yes,
I need a
Parvati
mnemonic
Survivor,
device
Parvati
to keep that straight.
Oh, wow. Yes.
It was something that just kind of it was not something that was in my head when I started with Fitz, because there were like a lot. I was leaving Fitzroy to be a fairly clean slate. He wanted to be a knight and flunked out because of magic powers. That's like all I had for him going in, because I wanted to kind of leave empty spaces there. And I don't really know when it was something that I sort of thought was a facet of who he was. But it was fairly early on, and from there it was just a question of if you Google how to do an ace character bad and not do it that way, or any other sort of thing, like there are resources out there for you. I didn't work with a consultant on that, although I probably should have, and that's something that we're taking a lot more seriously as we are moving into Ethersea. But it was, I think the biggest sort of piece of feedback that we get sort of routinely is to just not make that the only thing about the character. Like the only thing about Fitz wasn't that he was ace, like that it simply wasn't. And this is like well-trod territory and fairly, like, I don't know, I think at this point obvious stuff. But yeah, that's sort of how I was approaching it.
My short answer is it's based on, usually for me, like who the character is inspired by. So like Nadia is based off of Nadia from Great British Bake Off, my to this day favorite Bake Off contestant. And so like Nadia reflected her, and Aubrey was like based off of like some friends of mine and Aubrey Plaza. And so like I want the characters to reflect the people that I have in my head when I'm like making the characters. And so like that usually leads to a lot of those character choices for me.
Justin,
Dad,
I'm gonna throw this one towards you.
We're so natural in these. It's so easy. And we're definitely humans.
In the Taz seasons following Balance, it felt a little bit like the story heaviness took away from you guys having fun with the game. Do you have a rigid storyline for Ethersea? I guess Griffin also, everybody actually. And if so, do you think you'll be able to balance goofs and general enjoyment with that?
no.
No, it won't
No.
be. There'll
We've
be.
set out for grim work and we're bracing for impact.
It's funny because this is our most like this is our on paper heaviest season because it is after a sort of climate catastrophe, which boy howdy that hits different. In
People forget though, Griffin. People are all freaked out about climate catastrophe now, but after the climate catastrophe, we'll all be able to look around and be like, well, time for some laughs. I guess, we got through that.
Let's
Thank
heal.
God we had water.
Yeah, thank God that's over. Let's have
yeah.
some fun.
But I said it's funny because I have like 2 pages prepared for all of Ethersea.
What?
Yeah.
All 6 eyebrows.
What have you been working on?
Yeah, what have you been doing? Every day you're like, well, I'm deep in, guys. I'm elbow deep in this.
I'm elbow deep in diapers at this point, if you must know.
Then you're changing them wrong.
No, I have very little prepared. I have an idea of like how to start you all out. This may come as news to Justin, Travis, and Dad because we have not recorded the first episode yet. I believe that'll be next week that we'll be doing that. No, I have a sort of broad mission in mind, and it's up to y'all to sort of go about it however you want. And I genuinely mean it that time. I have nothing else besides that plan. And my hope for the rest of the season is that you all will be able to sort of pick your jobs wherever you want them and have these sort of random events that happen along the way that I'm very excited to get to. But yeah, it'll be our most structure free sort of season. Like I don't even know if there's going to be like miniature arcs. Like that's how, like if you all finish something and it's been 30 minutes, like we'll just start moving on to the next thing instead of waiting for trying to get a good button on it. So it's going to be different, and I will be I'm excited to do it that way, and I'm excited to see how people respond to it.
It's hard, it was hard after Balance because that was something that started silly and then eventually evolved into a bunch of characters that people really cared about and a story that we all cared very deeply about. And I think that it has been tough after that to not take every decision really seriously.
Right.
So because you don't know how long you will be living with that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And now at this point we've seen like, well, it could actually affect things for a long time. And I think that it's hard to get like Balance wouldn't have become what it did if we weren't so like freewheeling at the beginning of it.
It's the Barry Blue Jeans principle, right?
Right.
And that's true of anybody who's ever played a tabletop game and had an ongoing campaign. It's true of any actual play show. Like the good stuff that comes out of that is the stuff that's just like seat of your pants, just like making stuff up as you go along. I
will also say, I don't know how it sounds because I don't listen to the show. But usually, we're always with very few exceptions, like we're almost always having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different, like things can be tonally different and we're still like enjoying the making of it. I think if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do it. So it's always fun, but like, I obviously understand the question. Just
sure.
No, I say like Quiet Year is a much different game, but like when in between recordings of it, I was like champing at the bit to get back to it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I think
that
there's
was
still something to do.
that was why I was so like insistent that we like do that to start the season out, because I thought if we all got a hand on the ball for this campaign, because I had very little planned for the season, and what I do have planned came out of the quiet year. Like having everybody get a hand on the ball like that is so huge, so important to this season.
And I think it really kind of got back to something that we originally loved about doing the show, and like Justin said, still do, and that was we wanted to entertain each other first, delight each other, the four of us, and
we're taking too long. We have to move faster.
All right, you've got a lot of systems. You've tried a lot of systems between each season of the Adventure Zone various one-shot live shows and the demo episodes for season 2 before going with Monster of the Week. What systems have been the most fun for each of you so far, and what is it about D&D 5e that works well to tell the types of stories you want to tell, to keep you returning to it? Thank you. That's from Rocco Bear. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention the question before was from Rabbit. They, them. This is from Rocco Bear, he, him.
For me, the reason I wanted to do graduation with D&D is it's really easy to break. Like they're without. No, it's easy to bend without shattering. Maybe it's a different way to look at it. Where Monster of the Week is very fun, but there was a lot more structure to like what you could do on each turn. And there were moments where like we would feel like, oh, this impulse to do something, but then we couldn't quite figure out how it meshed with like the things in the prescripted actions. And
yeah, I adore Monster of the Week. I think everybody should check it out. It's by Michael Sands, and it's I think there's an add-on for it now that we like. We messed around with it a little bit because Dad's second character was one of the new classes on that. It's so rad, and I would suggest it. I mean, the reason we're going back to 5e is one, the ship combat stuff that I have planned for this season, like this module that I wrote, is a little bit crunchy, and I just like it slotted into D&D kind of well. The honest to God, the biggest reason why, and I know there's online tools for everything. Roll20 is huge. It's what we play Quiet Year in. I've played games and campaigns in Roll20, but the stuff on D&D Beyond, like the fact that it has everything in it and it does all the math and you can keep track of everything, like, and you can see each other's roles and like do all this stuff, which we could probably accomplish in Roll20 as well. It's just so easy, and we kind of need it to be easy for this show because we're all over the place, and not a joke. I feel like it is a huge assistance for certain members of the podcast who have a difficult time keeping track of certain rules for certain games.
I mean, that was unnecessarily targeted, but I guess we can try to move forward in the spirit of cooperation. For me, I feel like the nice thing about D&D is that enough people who have listened to our show and have played and have, like, the widest segment of people have osmosed a large segment of the rules of this game, just have that familiarity inbuilt. So a lot of the mechanics can get out of the way and let you focus on the narrative parts of the storytelling parts. Like, it is so hard, so much harder to make a story and make funny goose or whatever, and also be having to like refer constantly to the rule book because you don't have it like down pat, and like the listenership, you have to walk them into each concept because you can't assume the familiarity you can assume with D&D.
Yeah.
I also, one quick note, it's personal preference too. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with saying like it is the best game and the only game you should ever do. Like, for us and the storytelling we want to do with the arcs that we use it for, it's the chosen game.
Yeah.
But like, that's not to say it will always be the game we play or would be the game we would play at home or any of those things.
Right. It's not the game I would necessarily play if I played a tabletop game with my group of friends here in Austin. Like, it's not. We play a different game.
Play Hi-Ho Cheerio.
Play Hi-Ho Cheerio. That's right. Thank you, Justin.
And I'm looking forward to doing my next arc that I DM based on Clue.
Okay.
I mean, are you kidding me? That would be amazing.
Maybe I will. Do you got, this comes from Vilea, they, them. Do you think you guys would ever circle back to Dust or any of the other previous Taz arcs?
Dust, we get a lot of
Yeah.
buzz for Dust.
The trick is I have ADHD, and it really is like I have in my head what I would want it to be, what the next like self-contained like 4 or 5 episode arc would be. It is like sitting down and saying like, all I'm gonna do for the next 3 days is write this, and then also win. Like we would have to do a lot of brush up on, and none of this is a no, but like we would need to do brush up on the characters that we played, brush up on the rule set, brush up on everything up to this point, and then we'd need to sit down and record it and edit it. So
you're just describing the mechanics of making a podcast.
Yeah, but we're
who's
also,
got the time to sit in front of microphones?
No, but my point is, and we're also doing Ethersea. So like it's the thing of
yeah.
So the answer is not no. And
sure.
I love those characters. I mean, I love the Dust characters. I love the commitment characters. Like I don't like the idea that we're completely done with any of the one-off characters that we've done, because I think that they're all a lot of fun.
I think the Dust theme song is one of the best things that I've ever done. I worked wicked hard on it. I was so proud of it. And then Dust was what, 3 episodes, 4 episodes?
Yeah.
And
every so often I just pull up the YouTube video where somebody made like the animatic of like the very dramatic thing.
There's a few different takes of that. It's rad.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Scrap Ethersea. Let's do Dust.
Yeah, we're done with it.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, I am planning.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
That was a joke. Please don't yell at
we
Griffin.
have to say things like that.
I'm making a note here. This is from Connor, Colorado. He, him, his. I'm planning a campaign and wanted to ask the GMs, was there a time where an NPC went under or overutilized to the extent it caused you to make important changes to a campaign? How did you work around that?
Yes. Not to the campaign so much as like, I think I've given this advice a lot since. I did it completely backwards, where like I thought I'll throw out 1,000 and see who everyone hooks onto.
Here's your character spaghetti, everybody.
Right, and I'll see who everyone hooks onto, and then I'll develop those characters.
Yeah.
But the end result of doing that is like you're not giving any like breath to any of the characters you're introducing. Whereas like, and I think a lot of that was I got in my head about like, well, it's a school, so I have to make it feel like there's a lot of teachers, and I have to make it feel like there's a lot of students, and so I have to introduce all these people. And it was just like too much. And I don't think I hung a lot of like, this is how the story's going to go because this NPC is going to introduce this thing.
Yeah.
That is one thing I think. I can't remember if it was Matt Mercer or Brendan Lee Mulligan who said like basically think of it like when your PCs walk into a bar, everyone in that bar has the piece of information. It just depends on who they talk to, and then you act like that was always the person they were supposed to talk to.
It dovetails with that first question about prep, because like the back half of Balance was, or not the back half, but at least the last like couple arcs featured almost exclusively characters that you guys liked, like you all that were playing the game with me and the audience, and seeing like those characters resonate with people was like, oh, okay. Like I guess we'll get into spoiler territory, but like the 7 folks who were the crew were made up of obviously you 3, but also like characters that people really liked. And I was like, okay, well that's end game stuff right there. And yeah, it's the only way to do it. Like don't have expectations for which characters are going to be essential to your stuff. Like find out what your players like to play with and then do more of that.
Also, don't have expectations for who you think like the cool and interesting NPCs are, because that's not you. It's like sometimes you fall in love with a guy named Barry Blue Jeans. And that's just how that happens.
And don't make a GM PC or whatever it's called where you running the game want to sort of be also on the team, because that's another pitfall that I've fallen into a couple times.
Okay, Justin, Ethan, he, him says, I know in your new podcast book, you say to keep your podcast episodes short when first starting out. But does that still apply if I want to start an actual play RPG podcast? Is it okay to have longer episodes when starting out? Or should I try to break them down into shorter episodes until I have a larger audience? I know Taz episodes have always been on the longer side, but I know you also had a built-in audience when starting that one. Any answers would be much appreciated. Thanks, Ethan, he asks.
I can't think of anything scarier than starting an actual play podcast. The absolute gall that would take to start. I mean, I think that, okay, this is really tough for me because I feel like, honestly, if I was starting one today, I think I would edit. I think I would edit it to like condense it down as much as humanly possible, so you get like the best stuff. And honestly, I would play a campaign before you start like putting on mics and recording.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and this is like, no matter the size of the campaign, you have to have like the comfort and the familiarity. It is a different skill set. Like, it's not just you're like playing you have to, we've talked about like splitting your brain, and you really have to do that because you are doing character work, you're playing a character, you're also playing a game, so there's mechanics to keep in mind there. And then also you are making an entertainment product, which is very different from just playing Dungeons and Dragons. And like in the limited other actual play podcasts that I've listened to, that is the stumbling block that I have heard, where you'll have like long periods of silence or rule checking, or even just like mechanical discussions that aren't in any way designed to be entertaining, which is so common when you're actually playing. But like, I feel like a lot of that you need to like have on the cutting room floor until you've like built an audience that has that like level of trust and interest. That would be my opinion. Although like it would be, it just sounds really hard to me, and I'm glad that we got there early.
Yeah. And I think it also has to do with, to Justin's point, like the audience you're building, right? Because I'm sure that there are people out there who enjoy actual play things to see the mechanics and to see how that happens. But we are not good enough at it to do that. You should not learn.
We don't need that. We don't need that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah, you should not learn from us. And so, like, I think we focus more on the storytelling than that kind of thing. And I also think, though, like, especially if you're DMing it, having a goal time that you set is great, but if it's like, I reached the end of my prep, that's the end of the episode, guys. Like,
or you hit a good button. Like we did that. We've done that. I would say half the episodes that we've done of all of the seasons, like one of us will say something that will crack the other ones up, and we'll be like, "That's it. Like that's it.
Yep.
Let's
the end of the episode."
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a quick lightning round here, kind of just to break the things up. I want
We'll see.
2 names from each of you.
Okay.
Favorite PC, favorite NPC from all of Taz. That's from Ryan, he, him. Justin?
You can't just like drop that on my lap.
Okay, Griffin? I'll come back to you.
Of the characters I've played, probably Errol Ryehouse from Dust. I really, really liked that character a whole lot and thought it was a cool concept for a character. Favorite NPC, like, I don't know. I feel indebted to Angus MacDonald. Like that was the first NPC that like I felt so comfortable, like just having fun while doing that voice and just being a small child, a small aw shucks brilliant detective while interacting with the three of you. Like that character was very important to me for a few reasons, but the biggest was just like it was the first time I was like, oh, I can do whatever I want with an NPC.
Okay, I'm ready. Duck Newton is my favorite character I've played. And my favorite NPC is a tie, if I may, between Billy and Cassidy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
God, Billy.
They were extremely good answers, and I pity anyone who has to live up to that.
Billy's a good example of the thing we were just talking about like a character that Justin saved instead of dispatched, and then became a very
a combination of that and like a spell that almost worked from Aubrey.
Yeah,
so
sure.
like it was like this great combination of things.
Yeah.
It is like I do get kind of high looking at a character and thinking like your very existence is a shame to Griffin. Like you Griffin tried to destroy you and we wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
We were so and I don't know if it was balance that messed it up for us, how like serious and like sort of humanistic and the balance got towards the end. We were so afraid to kill anything in Amnesty.
Well, because it was set in West Virginia. I couldn't stop thinking about it. If I killed somebody in West Virginia, I'd get in trouble. If I killed someone in Fandolin or whatever.
There's laws here. That could be somebody's dad. That could be somebody I went to college with.
My favorite PC, I think, right now, to answer that, is Aubrey. It changes, but right now I'm feeling very Aubrey. I just had so much fun, and I think it was also like the closest to being me. Like letting her have ADHD and being like, those are the choices I'm making.
Ooh, you know what I'm thinking about?
What?
This is interesting.
How you didn't let me finish my answer? Or?
No. I want to zoom in on what you just said.
Okay.
Because I think that about Doug Newton.
Oh, really?
And I bet Mac. Well, Merle's very close to you, but like Ned is very close to you as well. Like, I feel like Ned is someone who's like, I wonder if like after balance, we were like wanting to be a little bit closer to ourselves. I don't know. Like, because it's going to be West Virginia. Like, I don't know.
If not demographically necessarily, but
just like choices and personality and stuff like that.
I think, no shit, I'm realizing this now. I think we all kind of wanted a grounder. Like, I think we all felt like we did pretty good with balance, and maybe we're just like, I'm gonna take someone who's I can't work so hard on another one. I want one who's kind of like me.
As far as NPC go, I had a lot of fun being Demon Prince Gray. That was a really fun one for me. I like those characters where it's just like I get to be the villain, and like that was very fun for me.
But the charming villain who is so evil, but then
it's the master kind of feeling, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Like, okay, sure.
For me, my favorite PC, and it wasn't one I played, was Fearbolg.
Oh, I like Fearbolg too.
I loved Fearbolg. Fearbolg was so different and unique. I loved Fearbolg, and my favorite NPC, probably Killian.
Oh,
because Killian was really the first
original.
Was the fourth member of the group, really. So yeah, I would go with Killian.
I want to go back and actually say Festo for my favorite NPC. Festo was an injection of like levity at a time when it was so appreciated because things were like kind of in the middle, where there was a lot of storylines at once, and Festo was just this like, I don't know. I don't actually care about any of that is happening. I don't know. You guys want to get high? Yeah, actually, that sounds great. Let's take a quick sidebar.
I like
from Steve-O Dockerson.
Dad, pick one that I wouldn't have much to add to because I gotta go grab another Truly real quick. So just pick a
okay. About game mastering and party dynamics.
There he goes.
And him. Before a new campaign or a new session, how much talk is there about what your goals are for the campaign or the season? Does the GM lay out a vision of what style they're hoping to go for? What underlying themes do you give each other? A plot synopsis of at least the beginning? Or is it all just in game?
This is a good question.
So for graduation, we sat and had like a long dinner one of the like few times that we were like in town together and had like an evening free. I think when
it was in LA, it was after Tiny Heist. We had just wrapped Tiny Heist.
And we had dinner together, and I said, like, here's my idea. It's like a school thing. And then we kind of brainstormed the world a little bit, but mostly like talking about the stakes of it and how we wanted it to feel, and like where are we like pinpointing, you know, stuff like what are the ages of the character, what kind of school is it, what is the stakes of this world, that kind of thing. But as far as the characters go, it was mostly just making sure it was good party makeup, really, like that it wasn't like, I don't know, 3 bards or whatever. Not that that's bad, but I think Ethersea is probably the most we've done in that regard, while still keeping it loose.
Yeah, well, I haven't talked. We have talked more about our characters in Ethersea. I mean, for a few reasons, not because like we're planning out the story of the thing or anything like that. But just, you know, you do kind of want to make sure that the characters, you take Amnesty, and like Amnesty turned out well and I'm happy with it. But when you all told me that you were going to play a park ranger, a burglar, and like a stage magician, I was like, how am I supposed to get those 3 people in the same room? Because that was kind of a challenge. So we wanted to coordinate that a little bit more. And yeah, gosh, it's so tough. I told basically what I told them about Ethersea is like, it's going to be an undersea adventure in an enchanted, irradiated ocean where everything is dangerous, but also there's fun and adventure around every corner. That's about it.
Griffin just kept saying, "You guys know Sequest," and then he would just like leave it there and let it hang in the air.
I would just sit there.
We were talking
about for a while.
The DSV episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, but I think also Quiet Year helped a lot with that. I mean, you know, we're kind of all going into recording the episode knowing the tone, the stakes, the world, the like feeling of it, all of that. Because of Quiet Year.
Yep.
Okay.
We talked about characters ahead of time because we are working with sensitivity consultants for each of our characters and sort of the broad plot as a whole. So like not the broad plot as a whole, but like the world itself and specifically like what we made in the Quiet Year. So we have to have that stuff on paper before we get started.
So here's one for all of us. Is there anything
I'm back.
Is there anything you really liked from the podcast that had to be cut because it just didn't translate onto the page of the graphic novel, or vice versa?
The one I was about to say was a spoiler for Crystal Kingdom. Okay, yeah,
on
go
the
on.
page that wouldn't have landed on the podcast. That's from Dan, they, them.
I thought someone was asking if we edited content out of the show, to which the answer is heartbreakingly almost never.
No, like still that time.
No, we don't have a lot of cutting room.
I can give a prime example from the first graphic novel.
Okay.
The Splooge Cave.
Oh yeah.
The whole Splooge Cave had to go.
Splooge Cave didn't work. It was very sonic.
Yeah,
I mean,
an audio bit.
The only thing that's coming to my mind is a bit from Crystal Kingdom that I don't want to say because it's not out yet. But it was just like a side. I'll put it this way because it is not a spoiler. It's just a side fight that gets a reference, but it was just, it made. Sometimes there are things that make more sense of just like, hey, we haven't had combat in a while, and this is a Dungeons and Dragons game, so we need to do some combat here.
Yep.
And then when you get to doing the graphic novel, it's like that. This isn't moving the plot forward. This is not a plot centric combat. This is
in the case of the Splooge Cave, it was just a bit puerile.
Yeah,
not really our brand.
Lovely, my amalgamated.
Also a ton of like real world referential stuff. Like there's almost none of that in the graphic novel if you go looking for it. But that is just
right.
It's 2021. My man.
And we're doing a live. We have an audience.
My sweet man. What are you? It's
they're a buck at $5 below. You can just go stock
I've never seen a human being look more like you're about to write a poem with your fidget spinner as you hold it out.
Yeah, but the price. The price is not what has kept me from playing with a fidget spinner in 2021.
Do you think I was actually thinking about when I saw these are $1? Do you think there's some choice deals on Amazon on like bulk fidget spinners?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You get it personalized. You groom's gifts.
Bulk fidget spinners has a lot of power sonically. That'd be a great band, actually.
Okay, please put it away in the trash. Okay, you can't keep spinning it. I have ADD and I won't pay attention to anything else.
You should try using a fidget spinner. It'll bring focus.
This is from Steve-O Dockerson. His. Has there ever been a time after an Adventure Zone campaign has ended when you think, oh, my character should have ... blank instead of we're playing the match game now. Oh, my character should have blank instead of blank.
Shouldn't have eaten that stone.
Shouldn't have make whoopee.
Shouldn't have eaten that stone is the answer.
All right, Richard Dawson, what's your answer?
Think about it all the time. I thought it was so clever eating that stone. Shouldn't have eaten
that
stone.
I mean, I've only been a PC once, but I definitely had stuff after graduation ended that it was less stuff that I did and more stuff that like I wish I had like prioritized or been more sort of an advocate of like chasing that particular sort of narrative thread.
This is actually more of like a gameplay kind of thing, but actually I think it might be more useful to people who might be doing this kind of thing. I wish with Taco that I had actually paid more attention to the memorization limits.
Oh yeah.
In the D&D for like spellcasters, because what I looked at that as a hindrance when we started playing, but when I played as the Fearbulg, I really realized it's actually a big strength, because if you winnow down the amount of available spells you have to you at the beginning using like a best guess of like what you might need or how you want to play, you have a lot more room to sort of like be creative, where like I felt like with Taco, one of my big regrets is like a lot of times feeling like it starts to feel a bit like Deus Ex Machina, because it's just like you'll pull out a spell that no one's ever heard before. Like Geralt is great and everybody loves Geralt, but like that injection doesn't hit as well because it was one of 1,000 different spells that I could have pulled out. So I spent a lot more time like looking at spell cards, where I wish could have been more focused on narrative, which I was able to do with Fearbulg, because I would pick 8 spells and like, these are my 8 spells. This is what I'm using. So
you started doing that during the live shows, and that was actually just like really informative for me when I was like actually making the character sheet for Fitzroy. Like I'm going to try and stick to I did stick to like spell slot limits, and obviously Sorcerer works a little bit differently from Wizard, but that sort of overwhelming, if you don't use the rules of D&D, which we quite flagrantly have not done in the past, probably the biggest being that we didn't really give a crap about spell memorization or somatics or concentration or like any of that jazz. But that leads to, I don't know, interesting story stuff. There's a reason why it's there.
Okay. What moment of Taz has brought you all the most joy? And that's from Katie. And Katie says any pronouns are fine.
I think about Arms Outstretched all the time. Just as far as like a moment coming together of like all cylinders firing, like story-wise, like the 4 of us like hitting that series of events, like leading to that and then ending, spoiler, I guess, for Severn Game if you haven't gotten to it, ending with Magnus being like in the mannequin, like that fight, because Griffin wasn't expecting us to do it.
Nope.
And so then it like that section of that episode of that arc feels so like I'm mad that I wasn't just watching it happen like on a show I loved, because I'm so proud of it. Is like I think I would put it up against a lot of like TV shows and movies that like I thoroughly enjoy and say like I think that this moment narratively stands up with those.
It's a live show for me. It's I think one of the first ones, the Battlefest live show. There's a part where there's like an orb that if it breaks, like this god will come out and destroy the planet, and like Angus catches it with a mage hand at one point. Like you throw it to Taco, throws it to him with a mage hand and like yells catch, and he catches. I forget exactly what happened, but it was like spur of the moment and the audience like went crazy. And I think it was the first time we had ever had a reaction like that at a live show. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is the most incredible thing ever.
That was also the introduction of Jeff Angel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, God, talk about underused characters, Jeff Angel.
I go back. I re-listened to an embarrassing number of times. I re-listened to See There's Magic in a Bard Song. They call it inspiration. It tells the listener just what they need to hear right when they need to hear it. And by the time he hits you're going to have to fight and you're going to win, I am classically sobbing. I mean, like I've listened to it 20 times. It hits me. I've listened to it like before I need to like feel pumped up about something. Like I feel like, okay, yes, I can do this now. And it's hugely embarrassing to relay to you, but I have listened to it repeatedly. I also listened to Two Food Trucks Explode. That whole segment there when Joaquin says, "It's going to be all right, everybody. I have magic powers." I listen to that a lot. I listened to that part.
That's really nice. Thank you, Juice.
A bunch of times. Well, I was mainly like a lot of the build up that we've all done to it hitting that moment, but your words in that moment were very they're great.
If I'm being honest, I also there's just a lot of cool stuff that Magnus did.
Here he goes.
The fight.
Here he goes.
He's fighting a bunch of things in front of the Voidfish tank.
We're doing the thing Chris Farley did in the SNL sketch, only doing it to ourselves. It's like,
do you remember when you and the Beatles?
Except if he was like, remember the part in Tommy Boy when I did Fat Guy in a Little Coat?
You know what? I will say one now that's not balanced. The deep desire that Aubrey had to touch the giant crystal. There's something about like as soon as I found out there was a crystal that people were touching, it's all I wanted, to a point that I wanted it so bad that it made me happy that I wanted it so bad. Like all you have given me purpose. All I want is to touch that crystal.
Dad, what was your favorite moment?
You guys have touched on so many good ones. I Saw Seven Birds. I just loved it, and all the music. I think the music you've done has been really terrific.
Thanks.
And Ned's goodbye speech. As long as we're talking,
that was really good.
Yeah. Ned's goodbye speech.
I like the part. I was gonna do a spoiler. I don't want to do a spoiler.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say redoing, adapting Crystal Kingdom. Crystal Kingdom is so Merle's like chapter. It's so
that was intentional, but
so
we've
much
talked
Merle
about
stuff in there.
We've talked about that. Like that was intentional because I felt like Merle hadn't been sort of the focus of the thing up to that point. So
there's a dad's contract.
Okay, this is a palate cleanser. What are each of your favorite cheeses?
A strong Irish cheddar. Thank you.
Okay, strong Irish cheddar. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of it. I'm pretty lactose intolerant.
Well, that's an answer in itself.
Yeah, I like it. I like a brie on an apple. Brie on an apple. I'm there.
Now, Justin, tell your sad truth.
Melted.
Yes. Justin calls unmelted cheese raw cheese, and he won't eat raw cheese.
I just don't like raw cheese. I like melted cheese, and I like a nice mozzarella that has limited to no flavor and it's melted. Sometimes I like it on top of a. You guys ever tried this? You ever smush tomatoes down real small?
Yeah,
and then put it. Like bread, tomato, mozzarella.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
What?
What is that?
This?
What's that recipe called?
Justin bread.
Justin bread sounds delicious.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with cottage. Okay, next question. Let's see. I've got an Ethersea question. I got a bunch of Ethersea questions. Let me hit you with this one. Where did you find your inspiration for this new Ethersea arc? And or the past seasons you have DM'd? What is y'all's method for creating your Taz characters? That's actually two questions, Robert, is him. I will tell you for commitment, it was the Thunder Agents of Tower Comics. I really wanted to do superhero / secret agents set in a closed down libeled amusement park.
With Dust, I wanted to do Romeo and Juliet with werewolves and vampires.
For Ethersea, more than anything, I mean, there's that whole space opera subgenre that like a Firefly lives in. But more than that, it's like Cowboy Bebop. I feel like for me, but take the ships out of space and put them in the water.
Ooh.
And
Juice, what did for
Lords of Crunch, I was very inspired by heavy metal.
Okay.
I like the idea of cereal mascots in heavy metal.
Perfect.
All right. From Zachary Uremble, he, him. My question is for all four of you. Do you see yourself continuing podcasts indefinitely?
Yeah.
Zachary, I'm 65. So for me, it's a no.
Exactly. I don't have any other usable skill.
No.
Are you asking me, do I plan on starting another career now at 37 years old? No, I hope not.
I mean, there's times. I think we'd be lying if we said we didn't have fleeting moments where you would like to do something that you can just finish and do well, and like it's over, and it doesn't matter what other people think about it. It only matters what you think about it. I mean, I think I've had to find spaces in my life for that kind of thing. Like when I play guitar or make something out of wood, I don't really care what other people think about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could be done and finished, and it could be like, I think about that because it could be exhausting. So, sort of like constantly feeling like you're making the next thing. And also there's a lot of people who are very invested in it, and feeling like you have to live up to a lot of that can be, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's a hard job. There's a lot of people who have actual hard jobs, but it can mentally get kind of taxing sometimes. But I get to make stuff like creatively with my family every week. So, I mean, it would be wild to stop at this point.
Yeah. I think all of that's the medium itself to like just talk about that is something that, like you said, we have had periods where we've wanted to, not seriously talked about it, but that desire to like at the very least take a break or something was there. But I think as we sort of dabbled in other mediums or tried to in some cases, and things that sort of like never really took off, like I think we realized that there's still a lot more fun things that we can do making podcasts. So, yeah.
Well, that kind of segues into the next question. That's from this is from the St. Francis of Assisi.
Whoa,
wow. Cool.
What a get.
Awesome.
Huge get.
What do each of you daydream about doing? In other words, if podcasting were not a thing, what would you be putting that energy towards?
Okay, now we're cooking.
Okay, yeah.
Do we have, Dad, you get to tweak Frank's question. Do we have like
It's me, Frankenstein.
does this have to be a primary stream of income, or we're like independently wealthy and are just like walking the world like that guy in Kung Fu?
I would say independently wealthy. Walking.
Oh, okay. So now it's just like a super fun thing.
So what do you want to do? What's your day? I mean, nobody daydreams about.
You know what sucks is that it's pretty much what we do.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Sounds so stupid, but like I play Dungeons and Dragons with my dad and brothers. Like I don't know. Like probably that. I mean,
if I could pick up like a concurrent to what we're doing, like job, right? I for a long time have wanted to do like not necessarily game show hosting, but like the host that like host the people who host like host
the most.
Like a Floor is Lava and like like that kind of like competition show host. I would have a lot of fun doing it.
Griffin,
I'd
what do you daydream about, Griffin?
Yeah, daydreaming is all I have chances to do now because I don't do night dreaming anymore because my REM cycles aren't quite filling up in the way that they used to. I honestly I just really like sitting down at a keyboard in front of a big like empty Ableton project and then trying to make something for the show, and only having like such limited time to do that now that it's almost always kind of a scramble. And I think last year I took a monthly class about music production and made 3 songs just for myself, like that. Actually, one of them is going to get used in Ethersea, so that ended up being on company time. But
write off.
Yeah, exactly. But it was fun to just like make music for music's sake. And I like just sort of goofing around and, you know, spending a couple hours messing around with different instruments and stuff and not necessarily having something at the end of that. So yeah, that's what I would like to be doing more of.
Dad,
and can't.
what about you?
Honest to God, I have done everything I would like to do.
Don't say that. You're
gonna
65.
ascend
That's
into
such a
heaven
bummer.
right
Please
now.
don't. No.
Yeah, don't know. That's what people. You say that, then you're like, I've had a lot of laughs. It's like beef out. You can't.
I am
You
very
have to have goals.
happy. I'm very happy with my life.
You become narratively disposable, man.
No,
Yeah,
come
Mac.
on.
Mac,
Just
just
say
say
this happened.
say
That's
say
why-
that you're retiring.
soap operas. If somebody says "I love you" first name and last name,
Yeah,
they're dead in the next.
just
in the next-
don't say it's your last day on the job and that tomorrow you
Yeah.
retire.
Can't wait to finally get to spend some time with my kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Something, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Justin left.
I wouldn't mind. Oh
I
my!
left.
Your camera's off.
Camera's
Why?
I don't know. I didn't
You
do
had a
that.
power outage.
Hold on. Let me mess around
Wait.
with it.
Okay,
He's-
I wouldn't mind writing a text novel. I wouldn't mind writing a text novel.
Did you change shirts?
What? No, that'd be a hell of a thing, though. I wish I thought
That's
to
very
do
David.
that. That's actually a very good idea.
David Copperfieldy. Okay,
Can I go out again?
we're
Yeah.
coming down. We got about 5 or 10 minutes left.
I'm coming back. Don't worry. We'll figure this out.
All right, let me hit you with a couple of.
Don't hit me.
Okay. If you could give actual advice to a younger version of yourself, say before you started podcasting, what would it be?
Okay. Yeah, mine would be to wait for projects that come along that excite you in the long term and are not just like good ideas in the moment that seem fun, but that they have like an actionable plan that will, you know, that you say like, yeah, I could see this being a thing that I could do for a long time. Because there were lots of shows that were like, oh, I like talking to this person and this seems like a fun idea, without thinking like, and who knows how long I'll be making this. And I pulled myself way too thin filling the time with projects instead of filling the time working on the projects I was already doing.
Okay, Griffin.
I would tell him that when you're self-employed, the taxes don't automatically come out of the money that you get, and that will be due. And it's a complicated concept. I get it, little 18-year-old Griffin. I get it. It's tough, but you're going to have to use the money you have now, your current money, to pay those taxes, or else the government will get so pissed off at you. So
And
you
those
got
taxes
to
are going to be weird.
They're going to be weird, and you're going to have to just set stuff aside. And I know you didn't do that. And I know I'm already too late. I don't know why I didn't time travel 1 year before this, where I could have delivered this warning and had it be effective. But dang.
Justin, younger advice for the younger you before podcast.
I would just go back. God, there's so much. I would tell myself to do cereal, like before they did it.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Do cereal.
we can do that. Huh? Yeah.
Go back, do cereal first. Tell them to do cereal. I would tell them to fucking be nice, please. Just be nice and say nice things and kind things, so you don't have to like discover that the hard way when you're in your early 30s or late 20s or whatever it ends up being. Like, just fucking be nice, please. Just be nice.
And if I were to go back and talk to a younger version of myself, I would say, buy your kids more stuff. They're going to end up being your bosses someday.
It's
You'd be like, look out for that dinosaur.
Yeah. I get it.
I would actually. This question shook me a little bit, because I would not go back in time to talk to myself. Because what if I had just seen Looper and I try to kill my grown-up version? No,
Yeah, that's
thanks.
fair.
Nice
And
try.
can I tell you, that's exactly what I would do. I know young
I
me.
know young Travis would try to kill old Travis for
No.
sure.
If I could time travel, and I've said this 1,000 times,
This
I
is
would
the rest
go
of the
back.
show.
I would travel back to when I was a wrestler in middle school, and then I would replace young me after the weigh-in with giant me now in the singlet, and I'd be like, "Oh, Travis,
so
mad!"
good.
Yeah, that's
And then
good
I'd
idea.
wrestle the kid, and I'd win more than once.
Yeah.
The one time that your dad didn't go to the meet.
Yeah, but that's why I did it, to spite him.
I'm a terrible dad. All right. We are really coming down to it. What are some forms of media you guys are into, podcast or otherwise, that you're currently partaking in or have partaken in at one time that you haven't been as expressive about but want to spread the word on? I've heard Justin use enough buzzwords that give me sneaking suspicion he listens to Hollywood Handbook, but I could be off base.
I think
Oh,
we
yeah,
all
we all do.
listen to Hollywood Handbook
Yeah.
for sure.
Wesley, he, she, they.
God, it's so hard with comedy podcasts because whenever I listen to one a lot, I did this with friggin' Worst Idea of All Time, Hollywood Handbook, Blank Check. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like the idiosyncrasies start worming their way
I can't stop doing baby from Blank Check. How could you?
Yeah,
never
or
know?
Famos is one I lifted from Blank Check. I can't help so that gets very. You do it without even thinking about it when you're improvising a lot of podcasts in a given week. I mean, I tell everybody to listen to Dead Eyes. I think it's one of the best podcasts that is currently being made, along with Heavyweight.
I would put my 2 cents in there for Cocaine and Rhinestones. Too, because
very good.
It's the perfect example of my what?
Tyler Mahan Co.
Yeah. Even if you don't like country music, Cocaine and Rhinestones is great.
It's the best example of my favorite kind of thing, where it's a subject that I'm not inherently interested in, but the person talking about it is so interested that I can't stop listening to it. It's great.
I just started. My oldest started going back to daycare, which was that commute was the only time I ever listened to podcasts. So I just started listening to this most recent season of Friends at the Table, which is incredibly good. And I also listened to a show called 2.0, where two brothers improve things. It's another. I don't edit our shows anymore, so I don't listen to our own brother podcast. So now I listen to another brother podcast to fill the gap.
Justin mentioned Blank Check. I'm going to give him double duty. Blank Check, their Patreon, is a series of commentaries, live commentaries while they watch a movie, with David Sims and Griffin Newman, and of course Ben does yeoman's work, and it's really a lot of fun. And also, how did this get made? Is that great?
Outside of podcasts, we all God watch Bluey.
Oh yeah, dude,
all right.
Bluey's so good.
Y'all God watch Bluey.
I've cried so many times watching Bluey. It's
Just
great.
watch Bluey.
So I don't forget, I've got some things I want to mention, and then we'll come back for one final question. Autographs are available from findthemetaverse.com until Monday, June 14th. Personalization is available, and all four of us will sign. It will be mailed to your home. You can choose a photo of us or Taz artwork to be signed.
Why would you not choose the photo? Look at these boys.
Look at my kids.
Look at these boys.
MBMBAM Virtual Live featuring Sawbones Friday the 25th. What's the matter?
Last time we did them, I signed them with a bad marker and ruined all of them. So I promise not to do that this time, but I did sign it with a real wet marker.
Destroyed all of them. We had to do all of them over again. You jag.
It's a real juicy one.
And Justin went first too. What a smart.
So bad.
No juicy markers. That's my pledge to you, potential autograph purchaser.
MBMBAM Virtual Live featuring Sawbones Friday, June 25th. Go to McElroy.family for tickets. The new Taz Ethersea is going on. Taz 4 book release July 13th from First Second. You can pre-order at the AdventureZoneComic.com. Everybody Has a Podcast Except You book from HarperCollins, McElroy.family. The Taz Bureau of Balance game from Together Studios, and that's up. The AdventureZoneGame.com, and also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram for all things McElroy. Let's see, real quick. This is from Michael, he, him. Do you guys have any rules on what not to eat before a recording to ensure a stink-free recording? Michael, I just want you to know, eating during a podcast is completely unprofessional.
I'm just going to say the pulled pork banh mi and green chicken chili from Modern Market here in Austin. Delicious stuff. And that rule it has existed for 59 minutes because that's what I have for dinner tonight. And I feel bad. So,
oh boy, to be fair, Griffin, most food that enters your body makes you feel bad.
It's true.
No burpee drinks. No burpee drinks.
Justin,
Yes, Dad.
do you have anything to comment?
I don't have any rules in my life, man. I live at 1/4 mile at a time. I
That's
live at
different.
1/4 pounder at a time. I eat whatever I want before a podcast.
Hey, listen, we want to thank everybody from Metaverse, everybody who's put this together and worked so hard on it. A big thanks to our friend Danielle. And it has been a real pleasure being with you here on the Metaverse. Can't wait to see you all live, face to face. Actually, for me, it'll be face to blur of faces. But we really hope to be getting back out on the road here soon to see everybody.
Yeah.
You guys have anything you want to add?
No, it's just thank you for being here. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Drive carefully. Oh no,
Bye. We can't end this. I have no. How long do I wave?